Hello, lovely people. Happy New Year. This is New Year's predictions for the whole of 2025. And it might be a bit of a longer one. And I'm going to cover many topics. I'm going to cover royals. I'm going to cover catastrophes like natural catastrophes. I'm going to cover politics. I'm going to cover finances. Whatever the cards bring up, I will cover. Maybe a little bit of Hollywood gossip. So please subscribe if you haven't, and like if you do, and please make a comment. Even if you just leave an emoji, it really helps the channel. So just getting a general look into 2025. Let's just see what the cards say generally. Oh, stormy times ahead. Floods and tornadoes, and people are going to need courage. But there is also going to be fun, playfulness, more people going off the grid this year, more people leaving life behind, and some of these people is going to be as a result of losing everything in hurricanes and floods. They're just going to go off the grid. I'm getting almost outback, Australian outback, or in America, just into the wilderness somewhere, the van life. Ooh, light. There's going to be a lot more enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment this year. People seeking meaning to their lives, particularly after tragedies. And we can all grow in our spiritual enlightenment. And I'll actually do a series for you on how you can become more in tune with your spirit guides. But we are guided. We are guided this year. And then we're back to chaos. So this is volcanoes. I'm seeing Iceland getting more eruptions, and Bali getting more eruptions. I don't know if Japan has volcanoes. Let's see what else. Planning. It's going to be a good year for you to do some forward planning, not to be freaked out or that kind of thing. Just have a survival kit. Now, coming from or having spent more than a decade in New Zealand, where they have frequent earthquakes, we always had a survival kit, and this includes food for at least a month. Tinned food, that kind of thing. And when you keep it, just rotate it. Like once a year or whatever, you take those tins out of your survival kit and you use them in your house, and then you put new tins in. Water, drinking water, or those survival straws. Even here in Australia, when was it? 21, I believe. We had terrible floods in 2011, but in 2021, I think it was, in the current house that we're in now, we had terrible floods, and our entire community was completely cut off. There was flooding all around us, and we couldn't get out, and so there were things like we couldn't get food, and it was about a week and a half. And some MP came flying in with a couple of loaves of bread and a couple of bottles of milk on his helicopter. Well, he could have filled the helicopter with food. Anyway, and at that time, the local cafes just opened their doors and said, well, we don't have electricity, so all our stuff's going to go off. Come and help yourself to whatever our food supplies that can help you. And people did that, but then they also left money for the cafes, which the cafes were not expecting. So we can't plan for all eventualities, but we can't rely on governments to look after us either. Communication. Very important to have open lines of communication, and very important to have some kind of communication systems with people, especially if they're elderly or live on their own. So, for example, my mother-in-law just before Christmas had a stroke, and she lives in a granny flat on our property. She's in hospital now, but she lives in the granny flat on our property, and we see her, if not every day, at least every second day. One of us will go and visit her, or she'll come to our house and have dinner or whatever. But on the day she had the stroke, my son had gone to visit her, and then my husband had taken her new glasses from the optometrist. So we'd seen her twice that day, And so then usually the next thing that would happen is we wouldn't see her for the rest of the day. We might see her the next night or even the following day. So there could have been 2 more days before we saw her. But she actually phoned my husband, and the conversation she had with him made no sense. She said, "Somebody's turned off my water, but I'm flooding everywhere." And so he dashed up immediately, dropped everything, and he realized, because in a previous life he trained as a paramedic, he realized she was having a stroke. So he just ran back to our house to get his car keys, and he saw me on the way. He said, "I'm taking my mom to the hospital," and that saved her life, because that communication, even though she didn't know what she was saying, we believe she knew that she was in trouble, and the first thing she did was phone her son, and so that chain of events really saved her. And so just important to keep an eye on elderly relatives and people who might need our help. Right, now I'm just going to pull a couple of cards for Harry and Meghan. What can they see in 2025? The Wicked Witch at the end of the world. The Jealous Witch, her time is running out. More and more people are going to see her for what she is. She's still going to try and play the innocent, be inappropriate on red carpets. This might even be some kind of an acting gig that she's going to try and get, but it's not going to work. And look at that. Pumpkin, clockwork pumpkin, clock, time is running out. Yeah. I wonder if she's going to bring out the children, the alleged children. The little girl that we suddenly saw had reddish hair in that stupid Christmas photo. What about Harry? There's the pumpkin again. He's not having a good time, and he's not going to have a good 2025. 2025 is going to be even worse for him than 2024. And the truth about at least the daughter might come out, and he's got to feel like it's the end of the world. Also, I'm getting here, he's going to lose some court cases, and he's going to be made to look really stupid. He's going to be made to look really stupid. And this could be the court case of the one against the media, and also the one against the wanting to have that same level of protection that only the king and his family and William and his family get. Not even Princess Anne gets the type of royal security that Harry is moaning and crying about. Oh, Invictus. Invictus. Is she going to make it all about her again? All about her again. Dressed inappropriately. Carnivorous greenhouse. That gardening program is going to be... I don't know if they're ever going to show it, but if they do show it, it's going to be an absolute flop. And it's funny that none of my prediction cards have said anything about the polo show. It's done and dusted. It's forgotten. It's forgotten already. Okay, now zooming out a little bit to world issues. And the peace card has come out, so there's going to be some peace and rejoicing in some of the some war. I'm not sure which war. I don't know if that's the Ukraine war or the thing that's happening in Israel, but there is going to be peace, and it's going to be joy and happiness. See the prayer flags there. It's going to take a lot of effort, but it's going to be a divine intervention, higher consciousness. Not all conflicts will be resolved, but there will be significant resolution of conflicts. Egypt, there may be some new discoveries. I'm getting some kind of a scroll. I don't know if it's a metal or papyrus or metal. Getting a gold color. Some new artifacts that are going to be discovered that are going to change some of the understanding that we have of the ancient Egyptian civilization, and potentially even how they built those pyramids. Expansion into the universe. planet Jupiter. I know that they've got a probe on the way to Jupiter at the moment. I think that's NASA that's got that, but it's only going to get there in a long time, years time. So I'm getting more that this is more the Starlink. And look at there, Starlink, Elon Musk's Starlink, and also Elon Musk's expansion, exploration in outer space. He's going to have more success, and I wonder if people might actually even be going to, if not colonize one of the planets or the moon, at least land. At least do some landings, manned landings. I'm also getting that China is going to continue to be interested in the moon. China and India. I think China landed on the moon this year. Or was it India? One of them. There's going to be significant interest in the moon still. Flexibility. Some animals that are currently on the brink of extinction are going to be brought back from the brink of extinction. And this could include tigers in certain areas, but also I recently heard about Asiatic lions, which I'd never heard of before, and how these Asiatic lions in this one area, how they live in harmony with the people. So I'm getting more of indigenous people and indigenous wildlife living together in harmony, not separated like the African parks is very much, they kick the local people out of the parks and they don't allow them to come and harvest the plants that they used to harvest, all of that. I'm getting that's going to decrease, and there's going to be more focus on, and this might be through William's charity, or the charity that he's the patron of, it's not his charity, more ways of looking and seeing how we can live in harmony with the wildlife and actually species being brought back from the brink. Adventure. And this might be people who are going on adventures, whether it's in the desert or more like people who climb mountains, that kind of thing, or go to even getting icy places like the South Pole, the North Pole, going off on adventures, but not coming back. Going off on adventures and not coming back. Ill-fated adventures. Leadership. Interesting. Very strong Egyptian themes going on here. This leadership here, I'm thinking, is more the leadership of superpowers like the USA, the Russia, UK, those kind of things. UK is lagging far behind there, but superpowers, and it could even include China, really working in parallel with each other, not necessarily working together, although it could be working together, but trying not to be in conflict with each other, just trying to live and let live, trying to look after their own people. So more cooperation in the sense of less interference. Oh, and there's Princess Catherine. She regains her strength. Isn't that a beautiful message? Princess Catherine regaining her strength and her visibility in 2025. These two cards, this is to do with people generally, being more grounded, more out, more stable. So the mental health struggles that really took over during COVID, receding into the background, people looking after themselves more, going out into nature, that kind of thing. Maybe even people watching this video who've been feeling mentally stretched. This is a encouragement to be more grounded, to get more stability, and then stillness, to go into stillness, to do more meditation, to help you be more on an even keel. More on an even keel. I'm just going to pause this for a second because I feel I need to get a different deck. Alrighty, so now I'm going to read for the USA for 2025. The USA and the politicians, Donald Trump, USA. Joy. It's going to be a time of happiness. That's good. That's good to hear. I'm also getting with that is the freedom. This lady here reminds me of the Statue of Liberty. Freedom. People are going to start to feel joy back in their lives, gratitude, appreciation for what they have. There might be some people who change their minds and their ideas about what government looks like, how government interacts with your lives, almost a freedom from government red tape. Welcome. So there will be welcoming into the USA. They will welcome immigrants who have something to offer and who can make the place a better place. But it will be a new beginning for them. But for people who are there illegally or who are bringing pain, difficulty, sadness, horror to the country, they will be sought out and removed. They will be sought out and removed, and there will be an emphasis on mental health, on helping people recover from difficult times, almost getting a reminder or an indication of crime, victims of crimes being helped. And I picked up this deck. This isn't the deck that I wanted, but I picked it up, so there's no accidents in card readings. So I'll just see. Surrender your need to always be right. So the politicians I'm getting, some of them are going to start to realize that it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. They're going to surrender this need to always be right, because so often with our politicians, they will have whatever belief the other side has, they will have the opposite belief. Whatever goal the other side has, they will have the opposite goal. Just to be, I don't know, bloody minded or different or difficult or something. These are the cards that I wanted. So I'm getting that people are going to be crossing the House floor, voting with their consciences rather than voting with their party politics, and really trying to do the best for the country. And I don't see big strife or big upset or anything like that for the US. Dwelling in truth. I stand in the light of my truth. So truth is beyond the need to be right. It's about what works for the people, starting fresh. Yeah. So there's going to be and we already know this, there's going to be a broom taken to some of the over bloated government spending that's going to be swept away, and there's going to be a fresh start. Flying free. Yeah, it's going to be a very positive year for the US. Let's just ask about finances. There's a lot of fear around finances. Finances in the US. And then we'll do UK after this. Learning. So you might need to learn to make do with less. Growth. So it might be off to a difficult start, but there will ultimately be growth. So those predictions about the financial difficulty might be correct, especially to start with. And I can imagine that if departments are scaled back, people might be worried about losing their jobs. But in the end, it will lead to growth, because at the moment, a lot of money, a lot of taxpayers' hard-earned money is being wasted. So there might be a new way, a new, more responsible way of dealing with the money that comes in. Okay, the UK. Exuberance. Okay. Tell us more. Life force energy. I'm getting this exuberance almost around the royal family. Miracles. Maybe this is people, the royal family's health improving. Breakthrough. Some kind of a breakthrough in the UK. A breakthrough. I don't get that it's political. It might be medical. It might be some kind of scientific breakthrough. Truth. Breakthrough and truth. Tell us more about that. Breakthrough and truth in the UK. Breakthrough and truth. Patience. Something that we've been waiting for in the UK. Okay, tell us about... So generally life is going to be good. In 2025 in the UK. Tell us about the government. Surrender to rest and sleep. To prevent burnout, slow down, honor your need for quiet time, peaceful sleep, to rejuvenate your mind and body and spirit. I'm getting that government is going to need to be rejuvenated. That government is going to need to be retired, and they're going to need to have a new government. That Starmer, Keir Starmer, he's not going to be in for the whole year. And it might be a party that is interested in nature, that becomes stronger, and even within his own party. Magic. Things can turn around. For the UK. And see how things are coming out of the hat. I'm wondering if this is getting rid of the migrants who don't serve the country. And this here with the natural world, I'm getting Prince William and the King forging alliances. Magic and miracles. To do with the royal family and the government in the UK. Something amazing is going to happen. With the government. Ooh, healing the past. Wow. Simplifying your life. Maybe they make the government smaller. I'm not sure. I don't know if this is trying to get back in with the other European countries. Oh, you know what this might be? Getting rid of red tape. That would be a miracle to the people, wouldn't it? Getting rid of red tape. Maybe simplifying how the taxes work. Being better stewards of the country's money. Embracing the future. So I'm getting really a difficult time to start with, and then towards the end of the year, a really amazing good things happening for the government being good stewards of the country's money, and the focus being less on red tape and more on the people, looking after the people, giving the people a beautiful future. Wow, UK, that's lovely. Okay. And this might even be cleanups after bad weather, bad storms. So everybody coming together, helping. And also getting that cleanup after those riots that happened. Communities coming together, communities helping each other. something happening in the government to ensure that those riots don't happen again, but also some kind of more fairness, because if you mention certain types of people in the UK, you were put in jail, and then other types of people that could say anything they wanted and they weren't put in jail. It's just this madness of distrusting the UK citizens that needs to stop and is going to stop. Freedom from all the red tape. Freedom from fear of speaking your mind. Now I'm transitioning into reading for Australia. Let's see what it says for Australia. Deliberation, ancient wisdom, turning more to our First Nations peoples and their wisdom, how they treat the environment, learning from them, learning how they protect the environment. More acceptance of different cultures. More acceptance of different cultures. Creativity. Those two look very similar, don't they? I read that as acceptance, but it's actually abundance. Abundance and creativity. I wonder if Australia is going to, together with this Indigenous person, more hone in on our natural resources, but use them in a creative way that brings abundance to the country. Because quite often we might have a mine, and then it might be... Sorry, my husband just came in. So we might have a mine that is owned and operated by foreigners, and then the money and the wealth and the abundance goes overseas and doesn't stay here. So some creative ways that the abundance can stay in the country, but also protect the natural resources while using them to create abundance. Focus. Ooh, that's a bit of fighting energy, Asian fighting energy. Hopefully that's not a conflict with China. There's always simmering under the surface. Trust and the high seas. Oh, this might be floods. This might be floods. In Australia or Polynesia, having to trust our own communities, having to help ourselves. Transformation. What does a transformation mean? What does the transformation relate to? Vitality, life, the sun. So I'm wondering if this the creative use of resources might be to do with solar energy and the battery powers that you can put the solar energy into. Boundaries. We need to keep good boundaries. That's the wall of China. And remember I said I hope it doesn't mean war with China. We need to just keep good boundaries to make good neighbors. Vistas. Exploring our wild places. Okay, so when my husband walked through, I just paused and I was messing around with this deck, and this card came out twice. Clouds. So I'm wondering if that is clouds is to do with rain, floods. We've already had quite a few floods. Doorways. Opening and shutting the gates of the dams. In 2011, we'd had drought, and then we had our dams were full, and then they were overflowing, and the engineers on the dams were supposed to release some of the waters earlier than they did, but they wanted to keep the water because they were worried about droughts. and so they didn't use the release system, which would have released smaller amounts of water over a larger time, and then the dams were inundated, and then when they did open the floodgates, lots of communities downstream were flooded. So this is a warning that those engineers need to be savvy enough to know when to release the water, so that we don't have a repeat of the 2011 floods in Queensland, which could have been prevented if they'd followed their own processes and procedures. Marbles, melting pot. Australia being a melting pot, a cultural melting pot. That could also be our natural resources. We might discover some resources that we didn't know we had. Communication, and it came up in the upside down. So be careful of failure to communicate with each other and with nature. That could be natural disasters because of not taking care of the natural environment. Time will tell. Time will tell. We do still have time to prevent some of these natural disasters. If it's fire, then by making fire breaks. If it's floods, by letting out enough water. But it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And this number, this shape is a sacred geometry shape, which is a shape of protection. So I'm getting very much that we are protected, and we do have the right resources in place to mitigate much of natural disasters that might occur this year. What else for Australia? Rising above. This is about communities coming together, Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people coming together, but also rising above floodwaters. I'm getting that we're going to have more floods. Oh, rising, soaring to joy, rising. So I wonder if that is relating to the atmosphere, smoke in the atmosphere, or maybe some kind of innovative what would you call it? Innovations, inventions in relation to purifying the air, or actually transport in the air, like planes or rockets or something like that. Accepting what is. That is very much for me embracing the majesty of the Indigenous people. And coming from New Zealand to Australia, and then first from South Africa to New Zealand to Australia, it strikes me in Australia that the Indigenous people, their culture is very much pushed to one side. It's not part of everyday living. Whereas in South Africa, you would speak some of the native languages as part of what you did, you would communicate with people in their language, even if you couldn't do it very fluently. In New Zealand, all the government buildings had the Indigenous name and the English name. The Indigenous culture was really ingrained into everything that we did in New Zealand. And coming here to Australia, it seems to be very separate. And I'm hoping that this card here is more about unifying and bringing the culture. Oh, there we go. Proceeding softly, bringing the cultures together so that the Indigenous culture is really part of the fabric of everyday Australians, not just something that's off in the distance. Manifesting dreams. Yeah, so it's a good positive, some positive cards, but also the cards of be careful of nature, of potential floods and fires. And look at that, awakening ancient wisdom. There's a great opportunity this year for Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians, First Nations people, and others to really join. And I'm getting this at feasts around the table, to really learn more about each other and to become a more cohesive culture. Wow, what a beautiful reading. I'm just going to pause and take a breath and see what else wants to come through. Okay, I'm getting back to a more general worldview now. Darkness. Darkness. I wonder if that is relating to electricity supply. There's going to be some areas where electricity supply is not going to be reliable, like it is now in South Africa, where they have to actually have their brownouts, or days where they don't, or hours within the day where they don't have electricity. And I'm getting this might be in the United States as well. It's also even Europe relying too much, maybe UK, relying too much on the resources of other countries. Yes, I'm getting that literal darkness. What else? What else? And it can be prevented by not being so reliant on other countries, and also by upgrading the grids. Freedom. Freedom. Oh, what I'm getting there is very much some falsely imprisoned people might be led to freedom, might find freedom. You're going to get a bunch of people released from jail. I'm getting, especially in the US, exonerated by not only DNA, but by new ways of reading fingerprint technology, new comparisons, also debunking of junk science, like they debunked the, what's that one, tooth marks. People were put in jail because of that, and then later discovered that that actually was not accurate science. Focus. Ooh, that's a bit of a vicious vicious creature. So that one for me is, we need to take care of our natural world, otherwise it might bite back. And that's also people maybe being lost in the woods, someone attacked by animals, wild animals. It looks like a wolf. Disconnection. People feeling disconnected from society still. But she's got an armor on, suit of armor, and her sword. So there's ways for people who feel very disconnected to get reconnected, and I'm getting that's very much the internet. And so people will start to feel less disconnected, which is a fantastic thing. Ooh, Guardian. 3 very strong countries taking action against another country that is threatening war. Oof, I don't know much about politics, so I don't know where that is, but really trying to keep people safe. Interesting. The underworld being unmasked. I'm getting this is gangs coming to justice. These gangs might be New Zealand, Australia, US, even the UK. I'm getting in the UK it might be gangs who traffic, who are doing human trafficking, who bring the illegal aliens. Gratification. I got before that there's going to be some kind of discovery in Egypt. That's going to help us see the world in a new way, or see how the pyramids were created in a new way. Please remember to like if you do, and subscribe if you haven't, and leaving a comment, even just a heart emoji, really helps the channel be shown to other people. Acceptance. It says acceptance, but the ladies doesn't look very pretty. So accepting people who are different from ourselves. People are going to become more tolerant. There's mischief afoot. Mischief afoot. Kids being kids. And ultimately, beauty. Beauty is the ultimate message for the year that's to come. And I just need to do a couple from this deck, and then we'll be done. We'll be done for 2025. And beauty is, we see the beauty in each other. We don't see the ugliness. Prepare yourself. Make sure that you're prepared for times of lack. That was the preparation message I got earlier on. Make sure you've got food and water, and that you can look after yourselves. You've got enough medicine, all of that. Desire. It's a year of dreams coming true. You need to know where you want to go in order to make sure you can get there. And right now, New Year's is a time for reflection, but it's also how your inner life reflects your outer life, or your outer life reflects your inner life. So what you conceive is what you perceive, is what you create. So what you think about is what you create. And never forget those across the Rainbow Bridge, those who are past loved ones, they will be with you always this year. Oh, and it's time to take action. So think about your dreams, where you want to be, know that you're protected and helped by spirit, and then get off your behind and take the necessary action steps. And this one says, Soul Invictus, winning at sun winning at life, winning at life. So that's the way to win this year. Oh, and expect unexpected, exciting surprises. And remember that life is a progression. Make sure that next year this time, you're in a better place than you were last year this time. And you're the one that can control that, where your life goes and what your life becomes. So, yeah, amazing. Sending you all love and blessings, and may the angels walk with you now and always. And let me know what you think the year ahead is going to bring, for yourself personally and for us as a community.